Well, summer is forgotten, the boats are put away, the sun that's going down now took a short time today. My breakfast tasting funny, my shoes are much too small, my pants they all got food stains, and I don't care at all. Headlines in black and white, they don't mean a thing. What keeps me up at night, those headlines always bring. I'm just a lonely boy, I can't make up his mind. It's gonna take this romance a while. Well, I found myself some money when I was only 4 years old. But the coins, they got too heavy, and the coins, they got too cold, so I stuck them in my mouth just.
How's everybody doing today? So, here I am in Southfield, Michigan, which is just outside of Detroit, like a suburb of Detroit. I'm here to visit the grave of Jay Sebring. The name may not be familiar to a lot of you, maybe it is. Sadly, what he's most famous for is being a victim of the Charles Manson murders. He was a lot more than that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his life. The cemetery is huge. Now, I know the general area where he's buried. It's somewhere on this side. And one thing I noticed about this cemetery is when you come in, it's a long drive in, and there's not a lot of graves to the left or right. It's just empty kind of fields, I noticed, and then big mausoleums, and then the graves were all kind of really far back. This cemetery is really big. So let's try and find Jay's grave together. We're gonna look over here, and I know it's somewhere around here. Let's have a look. Still looking. I've been looking for a while now. And one thing I know is that I didn't look beforehand to see if he's buried under the name Jay Sebring, because that's not his real name. His real name is actually Thomas James Kummer, and that's how he got the name Jay from his middle name James. I don't know where he got Sebring from, so I'm not sure if he's buried under which name he's buried under, but I'm looking for both. And also, he was served in the Navy, I believe, for 4 years, and he was in the Korean War. So it could be the American flag. It was Memorial Day recently, so there could be American flag near him here somewhere. Let's keep looking. A really, really, really long time, and I should have trusted my instincts and looked for the flags, because it's right in front of me the whole time. That took about 20 minutes. But here's Jay Sebring right here. So give you a little bit of background on Jay Sebring, what I know about him. Because the Manson murders are also known as the Tate LaBianca murders. So a lot of the other victims I find get kind of somewhat forgotten. I mean, they're mentioned in every book, in every movie about it, documentary of course, but they're called the Tate LaBianca, Sharon Tate and the LaBianca family. It's not to take away from their horrible deaths, of course not. It's just Sharon Tate was the most famous, and LaBianca was the following night, so they combined the two. But there were 4 other victims of those 2 terrible nights. There was Abigail Folger, Wojtek Frykowski, Stephen Parent, and Jay Sebring. So it's sad when you think about it sometime when, it's just sad in general, but I mean, that about the 4 other victims who sometimes maybe don't get, well, you don't want to be acknowledged. You know, I'm trying to explain what I mean, but the acknowledgement, you can't name every victim when it comes to something like that, and to sum it up, you know, into copy, into something, into a headline. Tate LaBianca flows. But there are 4 other victims. I'm glad I've been able to come out here to Jay Sebring's grave. So to let you know about him, he was born in, I believe, Alabama. Then they moved here, his family, to Michigan. And then after serving in the Navy and Korea, he went to Hollywood and he became a hairdresser, and a pretty famous one. He revolutionized hair design and hairstyling for men. It's great. I was reading a lot about him, about what he did, and instead of Brill cream, which was a popular style, like popular thing for men at the time to use in the hair, he used hairspray. He would shampoo men's hair before styling it. He used blow dryers, which wasn't a thing that men used at the time. So he really did a lot of different things. And men's haircuts around then were about $2 or $3. His, about 50, because he became a hairstylist to the stars. He did Jim Morrison's hair. That whole Jim Morrison look, that was Jay Sebring. That's pretty incredible. I didn't know that. He was good friends with Warren Beatty. It's said that the movie Shampoo was based on Jay Sebring. He was flown to Vegas regularly to do Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr.'s hair. Pretty incredible. Now, they developed a hair care product line. I'm just trying to remember now offhand if it was after he passed or before, but I know it's still going to this day.
The first time you see your customer, it's good if he's sitting in the chair with his head wet after the shampoo. That way you won't be influenced by the way his hair was styled before.
So 1969 is when he passed, and then we know the date. August 9th, that terrible night on Cielo Drive in Los Angeles. And he was trying to protect Sharon. He was with Sharon Tate romantically for a couple of years, and then it's not known whether or not he proposed to her or if she wanted to get married, and then he wasn't sure whether he wanted to marry her. But anyways, she went off to film The Fearless Vampire Killers with Roman Polanski in Europe, and she fell in love with Roman Polanski and ended it with Jay. And Jay said he would allow her to you know what I mean, but said he would accept the relationship with Roman if he could meet Roman. So he went, he flew, he met Roman, and he decided that Roman was a good guy for Sharon. Yeah, and then he became friends. Said that although he was very famous, he was somewhat lonely. That's what I've read about him. But yeah, he became friends with Abigail Folger, who invested in his first salon, or not a first salon, but one of his major salons in Los Angeles. She was one of the victims as well. But yeah, he became good friends with Roman Polanski because of Sharon Tate. And he was looking after her right up until the very end, when those horrible people came onto Cielo Drive and murdered them all. He was begging them to spare Sharon's life because Sharon Tate was pregnant at the time. And then Tex Watkins shot him and then kicked him in the face and stabbed him. A horrible, horrible ending. And I really don't like saying a lot of the more gruesome details like that. I just realized I said them. But they're well known, and what went on in that house on that horrible, terrible night. But he did his best to protect Sharon right up until the end. Another thing you may not know about Jay Sebring is he was good friends with a producer named William Dozier from Batman, the TV series back in the 60s. And at the time, Jay Sebring was taking martial arts lessons from somebody named Bruce Lee. You may know that name. And he introduced Bruce Lee to William Dozier. And that's how Bruce Lee started his TV movie career. He became Kato as the Green Hornet on Batman, then went on to his own series. So Jay Sebring introduced his martial arts teacher to Hollywood. And that martial arts teacher was Bruce Lee. And then Jay Sebring guested on Batman. Really short little part on one of the episodes where he played, I think it was Mr. Ocean Spring, something like that. Jay Sebring, Ocean Spring, something like that. Really small little part. Yeah, he had a little cameo.
One day without the power to speak, and the whole world will be at our knees.
So Jay Sebring's funeral was held the same day as Sharon Tate's in Los Angeles. Sharon Tate's buried at Holy Cross, I believe, in Culver City. Yeah, I've been out there a couple times. I've done some videos from there, and I did go to Sharon Tate's grave on one of them. But then a few hours later at Forest Lawn, Glendale, where Michael Jackson is buried, Forest Lawn, Glendale is further out near Pasadena. A few hours later, the same day, they had a funeral for Jay Sebring that Roman Polanski and a few other Hollywood stars attended, and they had the funeral a few hours apart so that people could go to both. That's a tough day. Wow. Yeah, and then they flew his body back here to be buried here at home in Michigan. Just imagine being friends with both family, but friends with Sharon and Jay, and having to go to both their funerals on the same day. Like leaving one and driving across town to go to another one a few hours later. Wow. So if you're looking to come see Jay Sebring's grave, it's somewhat difficult because you got to come in the main entrance to go all the way to the back, but there's a lot of little roads that turn off here and turn off there. I suggest, well, you can ask me if you're ever in the area. You can ask me in the comments or look it up, but you can try to find it online. It is difficult to find online, but then when you come in, look for this monument right here. When you get to the area where Jay is, look for this monument right here. Let's see what the name is here, because it is difficult to find. Baruskas. It's gorgeous. Rest in peace, the Baruskas family that is here. And then just walk behind it. These two trees you're gonna see. And Jay's right here where these flags are. The flags may not be here, of course, when you come out. As I was saying, it was Memorial Day recently, and he is a veteran. But yeah, this is where you find Jay Sebring. Okay, so if you know some more facts about Jay that I didn't mention and you'd like to write them in the comments or correct me on something maybe I got wrong, please do. I always encourage that. People write in the comments section, sharing, and I read everything, so yeah. Anything you know about Jay that I left out or you want to correct, write it below. So young. It's hard going to any grave, old or young, but when the younger they are, the harder it is. Sadder, you know. You're supposed to live a really long life. You're not supposed to go out that way. I have a strange, like I always say, rest in peace, but when it's a murder victim, there's something in me that's always, I don't know if that person's resting in peace. I've visited a few murder victims' graves, and I don't know how to explain it, but there's something I always feel. I don't mean in like the paranormal way, that sort of thing. I'm not talking like that. I'm saying there's something I feel like when you say rest in peace, I'm like, how can they be rest in peace with the way they went out? It just gnaws at me. But I truly hope Mr. Sebring is resting at peace. And so are all the victims of the Manson family. And hope all the Manson family that committed those crimes that aren't dead soon will be and rot in hell. Like Manson himself. Peace to Jay Sebring. Rest in peace, my man. Peace out.